Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and to this video where I am about to be starting the very beginning pages of my brand new sketchbook. So if you caught the last video on my channel, I gave a sketchbook flip through of pretty much my first final completed sketchbook in many years. I was really happy to complete it, and I had such a fun time having this place to go to put all my sketches and my paintings and just ideas that come to me throughout the months into this one book. So aside from my bullet journal, it was really great tool for increasing my skills and practice, and it was something I want to keep doing. So I was pretty excited to buy a new sketchbook, and I did what most of us probably do and did some research online of what kind of sketchbook I would want next. And there was one thing that I loved about the last journal that I had, but something that I wanted to change up for this next time. So last time I had the Moleskine watercolor journal. So the pages were quite textured for watercolor use, and that was great for the watercolors, but didn't work so great for my preferred choice, which is sketching and drawing with fine liner and pencils. So having that really toothy paper, I find sometimes isn't great. All that texture in it can make the lines a bit wobbly and just doesn't give you a sharp sketch in the end. So I definitely wanted to have the ability to use paint and use watercolor in my next journal, but I wanted slightly less texture on the papers. So I went researching and tracked down one that I feel might really work for me. So this sketchbook is called the Goldline Travel Album by Fontaine. I don't know if this is available everywhere. I think it probably is, but to be honest, I found this in a shop here locally in Perth, and I was super happy to find it because, one, I love the cover. It's got this beautiful canvas texture to the front. Makes me feel it makes it feel quite old worldy and vintage, which I'm very into right now. So really love that. And then the inside cover that I'm working on right now is this beautiful, it looks like a handmade paper stock, if you know what I mean. It's got all these texture fibers running through it, and I don't know, that just really floated my boat, and the thought of doing a sketch on that excited me. So although I loved those parts, the main sell point for this journal was the fact that the pages were a little bit smoother than the last one. They're mixed media pages and they're 180 GSM, which I probably wouldn't go any less for my journals because I want them to be able to handle just a bit of watercolor or gouache. But yeah, majority is I do want to sketch more in this. So everything should work well in this journal aside from my alcohol markers. But luckily I've actually made a separate little sketchbook for my alcohol markers, which I plan on using in conjunction with this. By the way, it's just alcohol marker paper that I have cut down into A5 size and then bound myself with some glue. And did I stitch it? No, I don't think I stitched it. It's just glue bound. So hopefully that, settles me for using my alcohol markers. And this will be for the rest of the gang. So once I found this sketchbook, I was very excited to get started. And because this opening spread was just blank on this gorgeous toned shade of brown, like craft paper style, I thought, let's create something as a title page. And that's something I actually wanted to do the whole time with my last journal, but I never got around to doing it. So in the end, I ended up just writing my name in calligraphy. And I don't know, I'm really kind of bummed that I didn't do a sketch on that first page. So I am righting my wrongs this time and starting with the very front cover of my sketchbook this time. So as you've seen me begin sketching on this page, my idea for this cover was something romantic. It's February and all I'm seeing and hearing is Valentine's Day adverts. And I'm seeing, a lot through social media. I'm seeing a lot of Valentine's Day love and talk about that kind of stuff. So it is in my brain, and I thought they usually make sweet sketches because all I think of when I think of Valentine's Day is flowers and love hearts and, pinky tones and things like that. So I wanted to make a little scene that represents Valentine's Day for me. So I have been wanting to do, I'm really quite loving this whole little lady idea that we've got going on for the bullet journal. So the little girl who's a small size and she's jumping into books and things like that, that sort of fairy tale vibe. I wanted to stick with that, and I wanted to do more like that, and it might keep going because it's just so much fun doing a tiny person but with all big elements around them. So I pictured a small lady who's all dressed up, ready for her romantic date with her partner at a restaurant or something. And I thought champagne glass would be very sweet. And then I thought, what if she was sitting on the edge of the glass and maybe her dress is the sparkling rosé. And speaking of, I actually tried a sparkling rosé last night and it was very, very tasty. So it just all sort of went together. I just sort of started with one idea and it just kind of kept catapulting into, is that the right word? Dominoing into the next kind of idea. Once I had the girl in the glass idea, I just thought I would cascade some roses, long-stemmed roses around her and have her dress be the liquid in the glass. I thought that was kind of cute. So as for the colouring part of this whole sketchbook cover, I knew that I couldn't really use much paint because this front layer of paper is actually quite thin. It's definitely not 180 GSM like the rest of the book. So I needed to choose something that wouldn't warp the paper and something that would stand out because it is a toned paper. So my choices were then reduced, but I am a lover of coloured pencils. So I thought I would colour the girl in coloured pencils and then do my very best to keep a light hand with the water part, but I just wanted to add some gold, and I wanted to do the title of this book, which is just very, very creatively called Sketchbook number 2. And I'm using some beautiful gold watercolor that is from Kuretake Gansai Tambi. It's the gold, I think it's called Starry Colors. It's a collection that has about five or six gold colors in it, and I love to use it whenever I get the chance. So when I thought about using gold on the cover, this was my go-to. I could have used my gel pen. That probably would have worked nicely as well, but there's just something special about this liquid gold that comes out when you're using a paintbrush with this watercolor. So I was very excited to get onto that. So I actually started with that, going over my calligraphy that I had marked up on the page, and then went for a really romantic, quite curly cursive font, which doesn't exactly stand out dramatically against the toned paper, but it is nice. You can still see it when you actually look at it, you can see it, but if you turn it to the light, you can see it shine really beautifully. And then once I had the writing down, I knew I wanted to add some more gold features across it. So I added gold on her earring and then around the glass in a few areas just to make that stand out and make it look more ornate as well. Then once we had the gold in place, it was time to start colouring, which is always the fun part, or what comes to life. So I wanted to get my line art on first, and instead of using a black micron this time, I thought I would use this sepia toned micron. It's a nice brown colour and it worked really well with the raw finish of the paper beneath it. It just makes it a little less dramatic, and it allows the coloured pencil to be more of the statement instead of the line art. So when I was drawing this girl who's balancing on this glass, which probably physically is impossible unless she's really, really light. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking she's a really light, tiny girl. I'm so happy with how her face turned out. I actually erased her face about 10 times because I just found it just looked wrong each time. Like I can never sort of accentuate the right feature that I want, and it just looks really, I don't know, structured or something. But finally I reached this point where strangely I just went more instinctively and kind of did a sort of a curly silhouette line for the side of her face, and it actually worked, which I was very shocked with because normally I have to get all the proportions out to make it look realistic. But I was really happy with this. It's more the style I want to move some of my artwork into, slightly more cartoony. So I was really happy with that in the end. And the one thing that I really dislike about this girl drawing, I love everything except for her left foot. although, yeah, her left, is it her left? Yeah. So her left foot, the one that's crossed over, it looks a little bit like it's been broken and put back together really badly. So if I could just fix that foot, it would be great. But, you know, I'm learning. She's learning, everybody. So other than that, really happy with how the sketch turned out, and was easily enough to go over the lines and then erase all of my pencil and then start in with my Prismacolor colored pencils. In terms of color, like I said, I wanted this to be such a romantic little cover spread. So I chose just very neutral rose colors. I've got some white in there because I'm going to have to lift it to make sure that there's a contrast between the paper and the skin tone, for example. I did toy with leaving the skin as the paper color, but in the end I felt like it sort of lifted off the page a little bit nicer if I colored the skin in. And so I'm just using tones of oranges and reds and pinks and just neutral skin tones. So it's got a really nice softness to it in the end, which I'm happy I went with. It was kind of giving me vibes from my bullet journal cover recently, which a lot of you love and I personally adore. I'm just still so happy with how that turned out. I think it's mainly the colors. The colors are it's just such a nice, soft, romantic palette. Just warms the little heart. So I'm glad I could kind of play a bit more with that in this cover page and just keep it really soft. When I was hunting for a sketchbook, I remember looking on a lot of websites, watching a lot of YouTube videos and seeing some reviews on some, and I had narrowed down my choices to the Strathmore hardbound mixed media journal, and then this one, and then one from, I think it was called Global or Handbook Journal Co., something along those lines. But I had narrowed it down to basically a few, and I did want to order it online, but I sort of didn't press go soon enough, and then the stock availability had gone down. So luckily I found one, in a local art shop here in Perth, and was able to nab this. So by this time I was literally tossing up between the Strathmore and this Goldline one. And I just went with pretty much that moment when you're in the shop and you're like, oh, is it worth me waiting and getting the Strathmore one, because that had so many more reviews online and lots of good reports on it, or go with what you can get right now, right in your hand, and give it a whirl and hope for the best. And in the end I decided on that option, because really I can order things online whenever, and the next sketchbook after this could always be the Strathmore. So yeah, I made the jump, and I'm really, really happy I did, because so far I'm loving it. I have already started another sketch on the page, on the actual paper, and it's working really well. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But if anyone has any suggestions of their favorite sketchbooks, I would love to hear them. So please leave me a comment if you have had a really good experience with a particular sketchbook for mixed media. So my checklist basically that I was going for was something that can handle a little bit of wetness, so watercolor or gouache or acrylic. So it must be able to handle a bit of paint, and then it must also be able to accept colored pencil and normal graphite sketches and fine liner, so it needs to be smooth enough for that. So smoothish paper, mixed media. I love hardbound that lay flat. I'm a real sucker for that. I don't really love spiral bound, because I feel like it limits you. Then you can only work on that one page instead of being able to make the piece stretch across the whole spread. So it definitely has to be a hardbound or even a soft bound. I'm open to soft bound, but yeah, definitely has to have a lay flat, perfect bound kind of system for the paper. And they were pretty much my needs, my checklist that I was trying to go for. Oh, and the thick paper. But I'm pretty sure all mixed media paper would be thicker anyway. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions of something like that, please leave them down below, because I'll be needing new sketchbooks in the future to try out. And yeah, so far I'm loving this one. And then if you want me to do a review of this one later down the track when I've experienced a little bit more, I can do that. And I will let you know how it is, because it was quite affordable too. I think it only cost me, I think it was 36 Australian dollars. So I think roughly in American dollars, that would be 25-ish something along those lines. So I think that's pretty good. And I do love the fact that it's square. That wasn't exactly on my checklist, but it was something I was definitely hoping for, because it gives you that option of working landscape if you want to, or portrait. But then most of my artwork tends to sit within a square, strangely. I don't often, I guess I do more portrait work, but I feel like you can do portrait much easier on a square format, if that makes any sense at all. So I was really happy that this was a square book as well. As I'm sitting here doing the audio for this video, I'm actually looking at the girl thinking, what could her name be? And it's quite obvious, but I feel like her name should be Rose or Rosé. Definitely getting one of those vibes from her. And I think it's cute naming all these things. I still haven't named my bullet journal girl either. Alrighty then, I think I have chatted enough today, and I hope you enjoyed watching this sketch come to life. And if you want to see any more, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video to help it get seen more on YouTube. But either way, I thank you for listening as much as you have, and for watching and for being here. And I hope you all have a lovely Valentine's Day ahead, and whatever you get up to, even if you don't have any plans like myself, my husband and I will just be having dinner with our kids, I'd say. Oh, and then we'll probably do our traditional watching of a very non-romantic movie, but one of our absolute favorites, and that is Predator. I always remember actually that in How I Met Your Mother, they watched Predator every Valentine's Day, and I remember seeing that and going, what? We do the same? That's crazy. Yeah, but we've definitely dropped it a few years. We didn't watch it every year, so don't freak out. But we do love that movie, and it's been a while, so that might actually be on the cards this year. Anyway, but enjoy your day, take care of your loved ones, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.